All
Press
right.
record before you start. There you go.
Hey, welcome everybody to Unlocking Your Business Growth and Potential with Resource Partners tonight in our Resource Partner series. We just want to make sure that we are here to provide you with information that it can impact and empower your journey, whether you're an entrepreneur looking to start a business, a real estate professional, or just an everyday person trying to figure out and navigate through your path. The purpose of what we've been doing here for the last couple of years is to make sure you have an opportunity to learn from key experts in their areas of help with the work and services that they provide. The other purpose is to make sure you guys network together organically. So if you need to connect with somebody on this webinar, you will not leave here without having each other's information. So for those of you that it's your first time and you are not a panelist, please feel free to try dropping your information in the chat. I know we were having some issues earlier with the chat, but if you can text your name, if you have a website or a business, and a contact email. If not, we'll continue to resolve the issue. But we will give an opportunity at the end where you can speak and be able to introduce yourself and provide your contact information. So for today's webinar, I'm so excited to have some great and brilliant people with us. Our topic for today is real estate essentials. We have key people and professionals from different areas and aspects surrounding real estate as it relates to being a business owner or even in your individual lives. We have a very special guest today, which is our core key speaker. We have three presenters today. We do have Zoya, which we're going to introduce her in a few moments from Cobalt Settlements, and she's going to give some title tips. She has a very nice presentation where she digs deep into information which everybody should know. So whether you are a homeowner, looking to become a homeowner, looking to obtain real estate for the purposes of real estate investment, and also commercial real estate, you should be well aware of the tips that she's going to provide tonight. We also have Paul Randall, a founder for Foreclosure Survival Today. I love Paul. He is an all well-rounded entrepreneur. He has, I would say, a lot of businesses. He does it all. He is a Renaissance man in his own right, but he has personally helped clients that I've sent to him on a daily basis and being able to walk them through some of the most challenging issues that they have with being able to manage kind of navigate through the foreclosure process. Maybe we even stop midnight hour foreclosures, help people resolve their issues or find another solution. We have other realtors that are going to be talking. Melissa wasn't able to make it tonight, but I will be filling in for her. I'm going to be discussing, just going over briefly, if you are looking to enter the real estate investment space, about the debt service ratio options of being able to um, obtain real estate, invest in real estate, and to get funding through being a business owner in real estate. And I'm very excited to have Corey Jenkins here. He is the AVP branch manager of Harbor Bank of Maryland. So he is going to give express to them what they do there, how they can help people all over, what tips he can advise people on in all different aspects of banking, including obtaining funding as it relates to real estate or business funding as well. And last but not least, we have Maria Parker of Green Bank Funding. She's going to be sharing with us some good information that could be helpful to unique, not just the everyday real estate investor and business financing tools or funding tools, but she has a lot of great options and she's actively helping us with clients on a daily basis. And of course, we will be giving our information that should better be able to help both investors and business owners and everyday people with long-term leveraging strategies. So these are some of the resources represented by the organizations that we have present. Some are not present today, but we have people that can provide resources in any area as it pertains to having a business, starting your business, expanding your business, even franchising your business. Our mission statement, of course, is here. We're here to educate our combined experience with our team, our partners, and with the things that we have done over the years. We educate people in all these different subject matters with our partners and what we help with directly. And of course, most importantly, we always give our why. So the reason why we do this is because we are business owners ourselves. We have literally navigated probably every challenge that anybody can face in this industry, and the goal is to make sure that we can help people have a cohesive place to go to get information and resources. So, these are some of the classes that I personally teach. This is my experience. I'm not going to go into full-fledged detail, but the goal is over with my combined experience. I partner with other professionals to provide experience and education in all these different areas. These are classes that we actually actively teach. So even though today is just for us to come together, we do encourage you. We're going to be letting people know of the upcoming classes we do have. We are going to be doing a summer series of different details, information with our partners, providing education in any area that could possibly help you. So we will be working with tech professionals, government contracting companies, anything you could think of to provide resources and education. TK, so I'm going to allow my partner, which he's the other part of Master Wealth Builders, to explain to him his story, why he's here, and what he does.
So yes, thank you very much. I'm very glad to see all of you guys. My name is TK Pryor. I'm the co-founder of Master Wealth Builders LLC. 20 years plus in IT, switched over only to this side of the house as a wealth specialist because my mother did it for me. So honestly, it's a passion. It's something that I'm very excited about. I really feel like I honor my mother every time I'm allowed to bless another family with these tools and these strategies. So, having a trust, living off my mother's trust right now, being able to receive $5,000 every month because of her sitting down and doing some paperwork is what most melanated families never get around to doing. So if we can somehow teach you how to do what my mother did for me, then I feel like I've changed one family, I've increased one business owner. So that's really what the passion is when it comes to why we do this. If I can extend my network to your network, then just maybe you can make some better financial decisions. You're on mute, Shante.
Okay, I was saying thank you, TK, for sharing your story. So we are joint ventured in Master Wealth Builders LLC. As I stated prior, I've been doing this for over 2 decades. I did start Destiny Financial Solutions for the same reasons to be able to provide resources to entrepreneurs, small business owners, and everyday people to be able to have a one-stop shop for any of their needs to get help with any of their strategies and goals and accomplishing their long-term success. We are represented with multiple companies. Some of the companies that we are working with us are here on this call today. Some are not. But the goal is that in all these different areas of finances, specifically with Master Wealth Builders, we're educating people. These educational courses are not for the purposes of selling or providing services, but for the purposes of just giving education to peers, community members, business owners to be able to say, hey, you may be good in some areas, but you need help in other areas. So we are open to, if you have a nonprofit, a business, or a college or university. We actually just partnered with a university recently where we're going to provide those resources in collaboration with the things they already do. The other part of what we're doing now is we are working on an entrepreneurship initiative. We have been actively already engaging and helping people every day and partnered with other county, state, and nonprofit organizations. But going forward, we're trying to bridge the gap that most entrepreneurs don't have in the very beginning. They don't know where to start from. So we are going to be having a series of events, expos, where it's going to be intentional with other organizations, nonprofits, and partners where people can come to an event and be able to walk out with a business. They can walk out with estate planning. They can walk out with having a mentorship or a day class in the particular field of work they want to go into. So that is the purpose of the Entrepreneurship Initiative. We also help entrepreneurship and small businesses with these particular services. So we do always express that foundational paperwork is everything. We do have funders here, grant writers, and banks. We all know being bankable and credible is important when you come to the table. So we go the extra mile to make sure you are prepared. So when you walk into rooms for opportunity for investment, angel investing, whatever it is, getting a bank loan, a credit card, you want to make sure you have access to tools and resources. TK, you can also explain to them about our corporate benefits packaging and the employee role program that we have for businesses and employers that have more than 10 employees.
Yeah, so this is a powerful initiative that I think a lot of small business owners, especially melanated business owners, really leave out. They didn't take the time to study the Big Beautiful Bill or the Affordable Care Act. But you qualify as a small business owner with anywhere from 10 to about 30 is the sweet spot, full-time employees that basically give you a lower tax liability. All you have to do is apply. So what we do is we come into your company and we say, hey, let's do a cost analysis, right? Let's do a cost analysis so that you can see how much money the owner is going to save, and of course, how much money your employees are going to get a raise on their paychecks. So that's very important because, like I said, unless you studied the Big Beautiful Bill, you don't even know that you're eligible for this discount. And applying four different tax codes to each person's paycheck lowers their tax liability anywhere from $40 to $70 per month. So that's a raise that you're giving your employees, and we facilitate that access. And once we save your company some money, we then say, how about you change your entire package because we are corporate benefits brokers. So I can offer you something simple like whole life at work. That means if you ever get sick at work, the money comes from the insurance and it doesn't come from your short term disability, right? And because the company offers that to the family and the employee, it just enhances whatever you have, right? And you can basically use the money you save from your government tax to pay for your whole life coverage that you're going to offer your employees. So we just want to let you know that we have that ability. And definitely when it comes to our strategic partnerships, we want to have referrals where if they didn't know, now they can take advantage of that.
All right, thank you, TK, for explaining that program. So next, we're going to go into introducing our partners. We do have our key speakers, but we do have partners that are here, and we just want to make sure you still have access to the services. They'll take 60 seconds or less to talk about who it is and what they do, so that way you can reach out to them if you're in need of the services they provide. All these people have presented at one point or another, or we'll be doing upcoming events where we'll dig deeper into these topics. So we don't want to just give you surface level stuff. We want to give you actionable items and information that you can implement in your strategy right now. Now, Melissa Alvarado, she's my partner over at Buckingham Mortgage. She wasn't able to make it tonight, but I am going to go over some of the information on our debt service ratio program. So that is the investment lending for business owners, but she's a great resource and we'll make sure that you still have access to her information even though that she's not here. So, I believe William is here today, so I'm going to give William the opportunity to introduce himself. So, William, you can tell people who you are and what you do in 2 minutes or less and how people can reach you.
Hello, everyone. Can I get some ones in the chat if you can hear me? Everyone. I can't. I don't like talking to myself, guys. That's one of my biggest things. All right, so some people in here, some people in here. My name is Will. I'm the owner of Business Blueprint Enterprise. I am an entrepreneur. A portion of my business is a credit repair company. I fix credit, help people get in homes, buy cars and things, get their financial situation in order with their credit. I also help people build businesses. I'm actually somebody actually paid me and I got their business built. Maybe in like a couple days you get your business built the proper way that so that you can get funding from the bank. And then I also do funding. I get people funding.
All right, well, I appreciate it, but you're a whole lot more than that. If you check out our YouTube channel, he did a great presentation a few months back in regards to, what people should be looking for and how to improve their credit. So he has an awesome system, and you don't need to go to those other companies that don't do much for you, but he has a hands-on system where you can navigate it on your own as well. And it's not just somebody doing it in the background for you. You can see everything that they're doing. So I definitely recommend please check him out. This is his phone number, this is his email, and he will be able to help you going further.
Yes, I run a credit repair company, not just a credit repair guy.
Nope. Yep, you do it all. And you do a whole lot
Mhm.
more than that. And he does support business owners, just like he said. He has a whole other array of resources. Deuce couldn't be here today, but this is his website. He does specialize in flipping. He does a whole array of different services. So if you do have any questions and you want to reach out to him, this is his information. Johnny is our ace, I call him our number one go-to when it comes to being able to, help with your legal options and without having to necessarily go to the lawyer all the time. Now we have attorneys on our team, but there are some things you just should have in place. So Johnny is here. I'm gonna let him take it away, and he's gonna tell you what he does, how he can assist. And because our topic is real estate today, to also tell you how Legal Shield and his company and the services he provide can help you.
So one of the things that we do is if you have to sign a contract like a loan document, something like that, we actually can help review those documents to explain to you what's in them. If you're working with somebody that's outside of this group, you want to be able to have an attorney explain to you what you're signing before you sign it. I'm not worried about anybody in this group, but we often go to people that actually are giving us contracts that are better for them, not for us. And just understand every single contract you ever signed is always done by an attorney, just not your attorney. So you should have some say in the game by having your own attorney, whether you're buying personal or whether you're buying business. But where we really kick in is after the purchase, because a lot of times there are things that need to be done, repairs that need to be made, adjustments that have to be done on the property. And we actually can help you with that. My daughter bought a house. And when she bought the house, she brought in a flooring contractor who didn't do a good job and who was still trying to ask her for money and said, I'll put a lien on the house if you don't pay me. She called Legal Shield. They were able to get that resolved where 100% of the work got done and she got the money back she was supposed to get back in that scenario. So there's a lot of things that happen after you buy a home. It's a large investment. If you buy a business, it's a large investment. You want to have somebody that's actually going to hold your hand beyond the time that you're done with working with the realtor. You want to make sure that your hand is held, and we can do all that for you.
Thank you, Johnny. So that was awesome. And of course, he does a wide array of things for business owners and so many different things. So definitely reach out to Johnny. This is his information. If you need further information or help, he's a great resource. And he also was a business owner for many, many years. So he has a lot of insight and knowledge on running a business. And he's still a business
And if
owner,
you
but you know what I mean. He had a whole nother business. So he has
and
a
if you want to
long
reach me, it's
journey.
my name, johnnyjones.info. If you go
Yes.
there, you can actually see how to schedule me. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Eventbrite because I often do events for business owners. So everything that I do, you can go right there to my name, .info, and you can actually find me.
Yes. So definitely go to him, support him. He has other events that could be a better help to you. Thank you, Johnny, so much. We appreciate you. Okay, 1 second. All right, so Angela couldn't be with us tonight, but Johnny did make reference to Angela Terrell as being one of our combined partners. She is our grant resource. We have a couple different grant resources if you go to our resource drop-down box on our website. But for all of you guys, whether you're a startup business, nonprofit, for-profit, she has resources for everybody. She was also on our December webinar. So if you go back, when she did an awesome presentation and rewatch that webinar where she actually gave everybody the secret sauce of what you need to do to be prepared and how to obtain grants. So definitely check out our website. Her information is there. So for anybody looking for grants, we also have Janine Warwick that's not able to join us today, but she's a federal grant writer as well. So there's so many different options. Joseph is not here tonight, but contact him. He's also on our website. If anybody's in need of merchant solutions, whether you sell product or service, he has a way to save you buku money, from using all the Square, PayPal, and all these other services. And he has unique services for digital and crypto to be able to do business with an exchange of digital currency. So definitely check it out. A lot of great options. And speaking of crypto, This is our a guy. He did our presentation back in February. We had a whole presentation on digital solutions. He can help you with being able to navigate your business on Web3 and also similar type crypto, digital investment, education. He's on our website. Check him out. He has a whole educational platform. So if you do not understand how to navigate digital and education, I'm imploring people, this is the way the world is going. This is the way finances are moving. You need to be well versed on how to navigate digital currency. George Dines couldn't be with us today, but again, go to our website. He's also an experienced tax professional, helps people. He's in government, navigates people through capital, business services. So please reach out to him. He also spoke on previous webinars as well. He does have his own podcast called The Common Sense Billionaire and his own show where he does talk about different topic matters on a weekly basis. So definitely check him out. But this is the slew of resources that we have available. Roderick is our direct partner on our team at First Financial Security. He also is property and casualty licensed. So Roderick would be a good resource in real estate if you need help with homeowner insurance. And he's so many different things, but he has adverse experience with dealing with commercial funding, financing, and he could be a good mentor and guide for that. And our partners at GovCon, they were our last speakers on our previous webinar. Definitely go on our website and go back and watch the rewatch. It was phenomenal. They just launched their contracting website called Bitway. They did the opening premiere on our webinar, so you definitely want to check them out. They have revolutionized the art of being able to be a prime and to obtain government contracts. And they have their own system and mentorship program to be able to learn how to do it for yourself. So please check them out. We'll be having them on in future webinars and moving forward in that space as well. And last but not least, Andrew Kuby, he is our faithful go-to on a regular basis. He's been in the commercial capital space for since 1996. He is a go-to for connections all over the United States, connections to private money lending, 400 banks, all SBA programs. So even if you're a lender or financing representative on this call, you still want to connect with him. I'm still a loan officer and I still go to him and reach out to him for options to better help the people that I work with. So definitely he's a great resource. With him by himself, we have access to everything. And of course, last but not least, but us will be helping people and talking about people with new topics today in regards to leveraging or using strategy to navigate through real estate in this high interest and political climate. So I'm going to go back to our first speaker and make sure she has the proper introduction, which is Zoya. And Zoya, I love her to death. And she is just a breath of fresh air, energy. She's going to be able to walk you through hands down as an expert in this field. So, Zoya, I'm going to let you share your screen and go ahead and take it away.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Zoya, and I'm the Director of Business Development over at Cobalt Settlements. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about title. We do commercial and residential title, and title comes into play anytime you have just really any property being bought, sold, or refinanced. So we don't come into play really with leases, but with any of those things, purchase, sale, or refinance, title will come in. So we do DC, Virginia, and Maryland, and there are a lot of states in the US that are attorney closed states, meaning a lawyer has to be present when you do your closing. The DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, they don't actually have that rule. So there's a lot of companies around that don't actually have attorneys as part of their company. And that is very interesting considering that it's all property law going into defending your property. So I think it's really important for anybody in this space to understand title. And I'm going to go ahead and share the screen and do my little presentation here. Okay, can everybody see? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right, so a little bit about me. So I'm retired Air Force. I was active duty Air Force for about 5 years, and I was actually in the medical space. I was in the medical corps, and that actually is what got me into real estate because I was moving all the time. I've lived in over 25 states with my dog, and when I was getting out of the military, I just really wanted to put down roots. And I'm an immigrant. I moved here from India, and I'm the first in my family to ever join the military. So most of my family, well, nobody in my family has ever worked with the VA loan. So, being in my late 20s, being one of the first of my friends to buy a home, and then, not having the best guidance, I sort of realized that a lot of people have licenses. But just because you have a license doesn't mean that you know how to use it or that you are there to help people in the way that they need. I think a lot of people are there to serve you, and some people are there and kind of take advantage of the fact that you don't know things. So it's very important to educate yourself, be an advocate for yourself, because in the end, everyone's here to help you with your goals. Um, Obviously, on the left side are my pets that are all named after food. There's Mochi is my dog, and then Chai and Noodle are my really fat cats. And then those are my parents, and then that's my boyfriend, Cam. And then I went to Virginia Tech for college. So it's a little bit about me. So let's talk about this here. So you go ahead and you buy a house, or you buy a piece of land. Who holds the title, right? So when you really think about this, would you ever go ahead and just invest all of your life savings, all the money that you work so hard for? You wake up, you go to work, you're exhausted all the time, but you're doing it to reach a goal. So finally you make enough and you buy something and you're not even sure who really owns it. You're just kind of hoping that there's nothing hidden in the property and that nobody is lying to you. And without coming off aggressively, people lie sometimes, like people do lie a lot. So to put all of your money and not know if that land is really yours, it's kind of scary business. You want to make sure that you're protecting your own investments. So let's see here. And then just going over this, things like this can really happen. So hidden heirs, a situation where maybe somebody had a lot of kids. They didn't like one of their kids. They didn't include one of their kids in the will. The will said, "Oh well," the kid said, "Oh, I'm actually rightfully, I own like part of this land, and nobody asked me about it." Maybe if they're right, maybe they're not right, but the legal fees and trying to figure that out when you have to hire a lawyer, they will drown you. So it's good to already have a team behind you. Unpaid debts, that's going to put a lien on the house, and that holds a whole thing of problems. And then other claims waiting to surface. So there's liens, there's easements, there's a ton of things that can go on. So, are you buying what you really think you are buying? So, this right here, so when you first are looking for a house, what a title company will do is a title search. Again, the whole point of title is to make sure that the ownership of the land is 100% yours. So, this over here is the plat of survey. So, this is sort of when you're buying a lot, what it will look like. And as you can see, it's got the measurements for everything. It shows what streets it's on, what space this is. So, there's issues. So for example, these are things that happen. Somebody has a really nice neighbor. They say, "Oh, I've got this dog that always runs around. Can he just go into your yard whenever?" The neighbor says, "Sure." And then he sells the house and somebody else lives in there and they say, "I'm not okay with your dog running around." And the person says, "Oh, well, it was fine with me." So that's a thing where you would want your title company to just pull up this plat of survey and show people, hey, this is actually legally their land. It's not in writing, it's not there. Sometimes people happen that, people have construction or like development projects right next to them, and they're pretty sure it's on their line and that, it's going into their territory. That's when a title company will come in also. And in issues where you already own a house, you're not in the middle of buying or selling or refinancing, you're already living somewhere, but you feel like somebody is encroaching on your space. Another thing that can happen, which people don't think about, is local companies that are for the community. So things like energy companies, drainage companies, plumbing companies, they can knock on your door and say, "Hey, we need to build a drainage system through this county, and we need 5% of your land." You might 10% of your land, 20% of your land. So you might say, "Okay, yeah, I don't care. I don't use that much of my land." But then when the next person buys the house, if you don't disclose that, they think they're paying $1 million for 100%, but they're paying $1 million for only 80% because you're letting the 20% get used for something else. So those people, when they buy that and they don't realize that's the case, they then have title lawyers that will protect them and say, "Hey, I bought this land and didn't know that all of it wasn't mine." But if you get title involved at the very beginning, we'll find that out for you and you won't be in that situation. If things arise afterwards, we will protect you and then you don't have to pay the legal fees. So these sorts of things. So what goes into a title search? Definitely we'll be looking up those actual property lines and things like that. But really what it is the chain of title. So let's say that you want to buy a certain property, piece of land. We will pretty much go back in the county records and look at every single transaction that's occurred on that property. It used to not exist. Somebody developed it and then somebody turned it into a plot of land. So we look from when it turned into a plot of land to right now. We see everyone who bought it, what bank did they work with, what lender, who were the two people on either end, and then how long did that last for? Then when it was sold again, what happened there? When it was refinanced, what happened there? We make sure there's no breaks in the chain of title and that the chain of title follows through. If there are any breaks, that's when fraud comes in. So people that want to commit fraud, they will come in when there's anything that does not match the county documents. Right now, there is a lot of resource for people that want to invest. There are actually entire investing groups for how to build your wealth through real estate. And they're teaching people how to knock for properties, walk around and find abandoned and distressed properties, and then convert those properties for a profit. So when you're finding a property that's abandoned, how do you know it's really abandoned? How do you know that it doesn't belong to somebody and that they just don't care about it if it's not in the county records? So, an actual example where this happens all the time, even if you're not one of those people that's looking for properties, is that let's say that you unfortunately have a parent pass away. That parent passes their house to you in their will. You are grieving and you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to go deal with the estate and do all of that. Maybe you also live in a different country and flying to the United States to go take care of their house in Virginia is just a lot of work. So maybe you just let it sit for a year. These people never fly, never go to probate. If you don't go to probate with these documents and say, hey, here's a will, even though that will is notarized, even though it is a legal document, even though you are protected by that will, if you never take that will to probate and file it in the county records, no company in the entire world can ever look it up because there's nothing to look up. It's not been filed. So if somebody does a title search and these documents haven't been filed, then they can't find these things to protect you, and they've got to protect you in the future when this sort of thing comes up. So this is actually something we've seen happen multiple times, is that somebody will sell a house. So they find a house that looks abandoned. They go find a realtor and say, I found this house, help me sell the house. And then they keep the property profit. Somebody comes back after a little bit of time and realizes that, hey, someone's living in this house. They show up with a notarized document and say, I own this house. I just haven't been here for a while and for whatever reason. You spent your good hard-earned money on this document. You also have legal documents saying that you own it. So obviously there's inevitably going to be a legal battle. And so when that happens, there's no choice then but to spend your money or you will lose everything. And that money is hundreds and thousands of dollars and can ruin lives. So that's what this means by unrecorded documents. And then also past errors. So people just not going and doing the right thing with their documents, filing them, can cloud who actually owns the land. Unknown heirs, we went over that. Unpaid taxes, went over that. And then fraud as well can create that legal risk. So we'll go here. So what do we actually do? So when there's these land records, we will navigate them. We'll look through everything. We'll look through that chain of title as we'd explained. We'll verify that what you're buying is actually yours. Hey, you're buying this, just know that you don't have access to 80% of this land. Oh, hey, you're buying this for your business and your business requires an outdoor component. Just know that you don't have access to the entire outdoor component because there are drain pipes running under your land. Those sorts of things we will find even if they're not disclosed to you by the sellers. If there's any past debts, we'll make sure that you're not in trouble. If things pop up later that are not your fault, and now it's on you because you're living on that property or you're working on that property, we will make sure you don't have to pay those things because they're not your fault. So essentially, whenever you buy a property and you go to the closing table, you have your realtor helping you find things, you have your lender getting your money. But when you go to the closing table to finalize everything with that big stack of documents, that's actually when the closing happens. So at the closing table, we are helping you decide what title insurance you want. And so the point of title insurance is to protect your property, and that's for the entire length of time you own the property. Even if you pass away, if it gets moved on to your kids, they're also protected by the title insurance. And what title insurance means is if any of these things that I told you about pop up, fraud, lien, unpaid taxes, unknown heirs, all of these things, when they do pop up, you've already started a file with us. We already know you've already paid a one-time title insurance fee. For all the other insurances that you pay quarterly or monthly or yearly for your insurance. Title, you only pay once at when you're buying or when you're refinancing. And after that, everything is covered. So even if it ends up being $1 million to protect your home, none of that will come out of your pocket. Um, we'll work with lenders, we'll work with them just to make sure everything is good with financing and that there's no issues later that will catch up with you. And then obviously we will record the legal documents. So we work with the lawyers that are in our company. The owner and CEO of Cobalt has been a lawyer for 30 years, and they'll go over everything with you and make sure you're protected. So, it's not a perfect system because of so many things that we said. There's a lot of things that are legal, but it's really hard to find them because, again, it's the records are just a repository of millions of documents. We're looking through these documents and finding everything that there is for it, but it's not a guarantee because, again, if it hasn't been filed, we can't find it. Also, if it's been filed in the wrong county because county lines have switched and it hasn't transferred over, which is something that happens all the time, we can't find it, and that's not just us, that's any company because they'll look within the county. And so if as someone is challenging that ownership, as I had said, the title insurance is a one-time fee, and that will fix everything. And if I don't know if anyone of you has ever been sued or heard of anyone getting sued or had to go to court or had to get a lawyer involved in your life, but those things stack up really fast, and even for a personal matter. So for something as big as protecting a house, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars, it really stacks up. A little bit about Cobalt, right? So we are attorney owned. Right there in the middle is Jeff Nowak. He's been an attorney for 30 years. And he's not one of those annoying attorneys that everyone hates. He's also an MBA and he really cares about the customer service client experience. So he feels that just because this is a huge numbers transaction doesn't mean that it shouldn't have that extra special touch because it is also a huge moment in your life. You've accomplished something big and you should know that your money has gone to the right place and that you have a team of experienced people there to help you. So we have two attorneys, Peter to the left, Jeff in the middle, and then we have one processor that has worked with them for 20 years and handles everything. So that's Andrea on the bottom left. We have a front person at the front that handles all the transactions, their transaction coordinator, and then the wiring manager for all the wiring instructions, because we use a secure portal so that no hackers can break into your escrows. And then there's me and one of the board members of our company. So what sets us apart, we really don't care about being a factory. We're not trying to just have so many customers and just churn out contracts like a factory. We actually say that we're a boutique title company. We try to keep the operation to being intimate with our clients. We like to support our partners. So we work really hard to make sure that our realtors always have someone to help them sponsor events, help them with their CEs, help them with, their brokers opens, open houses, their advertising, their social media, and the same thing for our lenders. So that's another big thing. We all of our fees are transparent. We don't have any hidden fees in the background for recording. We don't do any joint ventures, so we're not financially tied to any brokerages. All the business we get is genuinely because people think we do the best job, not because we have some sort of business venture with them. And then finally, we'll work with you the way you want. If you're older and we're not comfortable with technology, we have ways to get things done on paper. If you want to use all the technology that's high end to keep things secure, we have that as well. So we'll meet you where you are. At the end of the day, with networking, the best referrals for us, specifically realtors and lenders, because they're constantly having to work with families, churn out these contracts, and they want to make sure that all their time is well spent. They are working on projects and working with families and working on properties that will benefit everybody at the end of the day. So we get a lot of calls from people saying, "Hey, I'm looking into this investment property. Hey, I'm looking to invest in this business. Could you please take a look at this and see if everything checks out?" So that's something we can always do. Um, Anyone that is changing a title during life events. So key phrases to look out for. If you hear, "Oh, I'm going through a divorce. Oh, I just had somebody pass." Trust documents, wills, anything like that, let us know and reach out to me because that is something where people don't realize that, oh, just because it's on this document, just because they left it to me in their will or in a trust, doesn't mean that everybody knows about it. And I need to go record it the right way. Or, people just have questions. I just inherited this house and I don't want to live there yet. What are the best ways for me to handle this if I don't want to sell it quite yet? So we have all the resources for that. And then finally, people who just take their reputation seriously. Um, so at the end of the day, when you close with Cobalt, you close with confidence. I'm Zoya again. I'm their director of business development, and you can contact me at any time. I will make sure to leave my email and my phone number in the chat. And thank you so much for letting me present to you today.
All right, thank you so much, Zoya. I appreciate you. Please, everybody, does anybody have any questions for Zoya? This is the time to be able just to have an open forum. If you have any specific questions or anything that can help you. All right, you can raise your hand if you have a question or anything specific you would like to ask Zoya at this time.
I would just like to make a comment if I could. I just really appreciate the information that you provided. A lot of it I was familiar with, but one specific point that you made was when utility companies use a portion of your land and you're selling that property and you don't know that, okay, that is, within the agreement of the sale. That is something that I haven't ever touched on. I'm I'm a closing agent, do as a notary signing agent as well as doing loans, business loans. So I just picked up on a couple of things. But yeah, and title insurance is very important. So I'm glad you touched on that topic.
Oh yeah. No, it's like, it's like when you work at a hospital and you think cancer is everywhere and like title fraud is everywhere. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people out there trying to do crazy things. And especially another thing that's really going on these days, guys, is with data centers. They're starting to have agreements with certain areas because of the environmental things that can come as a result of being near a data center. And there's people saying that the energies that are put out from living around a data center can be damaging if you have certain conditions or predispositions health-wise. And so that is actually really tough because those kinds of things are very hard to document. And a lot of the time, the people that are developing the data center will just knock on everyone's doors and be like, hey, we're going to be doing some testing. Is that fine with you? And if there's any issues, we'll pay you, and is that okay? And a lot of the neighbors will just say, "Oh yeah, it's fine, it's fine." And then new people will move in, and they've just come into the situation. They have health issues, and then it's very hard to figure out who's responsible for paying for those health bills. And so that's another big thing that's coming up, to keep an eye out for.
All right,
One
thank
thing
you. Go
One
ahead.
thing you said that really, got me, as the person that deals with estate planning, when you said that if they have a will that's properly executed but not put through the probate process, because everybody tries to avoid probate. When you said that scenario, I'm gonna steal that from you. I'm gonna just let you know right now. I'm gonna say that more often because that's such a big deal. Everybody say, go get a trust and you're okay. But they're not understanding there are things that you need a will for as well. And a lot of people are being told to avoid probate when probate actually protects you if you understand how to use it. Most people go to probate with no attorney, so now they're
Uh-huh.
not protected. But when you have that, so when you said that, you're the first one I ever heard that I've ever heard from a title company say that. But you just got a lot of credibility with me because that right there, everybody that was here right now that heard that need to take action on that right there.
For sure, because probate is a horrible system. It is not a fun time for anybody, and I totally get why you avoid it. But I go to a lot of conferences about title, which is about as fun as it sounds. But the way somebody explained it to me was, not going to probate is like writing an email and never sending it. It's like you have all the information there, but you just have not submitted it at all, and nobody can use whatever you just put together. And so that's essentially what's going on with that. But that's actually why a lot of people will turn to trusts, and people don't realize that. And it's because if you, let's say that your dad has like multiple properties and he passes away and he gives you all the properties in his will, and these properties are in different states. So one's in Maryland, one's in Florida. He's got to one place in it like California. You've actually got to go to probate in each one of these states separately. So you've got to fly all over the country to these different states. People don't do all of that. And so then whatever has not done the probate, it's not done, and that's where wherever you don't live, wherever's not being watched, where you get in trouble. So a lot of the time, that's when people will, if they have multiple properties, I always tell people, advise them or send them to people that can handle trust, because you're not screwing your kids over, your beneficiaries over, and they're going to be able to just get access to all the funds and land instead of having to go to probate in multiple states and situations.
And the one thing about a trust that people don't understand, once you start a trust, you no longer own that property. And if you need to refinance or do anything, you have to undo the trust or redo the trust. Like there's so many other things that are going into this that it's not a simple solution. Everybody
No,
keeps thinking there's an easy way, just go over here, but it's not always as easy as it's made to be seen.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll chime in on that, Johnny. So, being a loan officer for 26 years, there are some solutions. There are ways to navigate that with once transferring the deed to the trust, where depending on the bank and the underwriting, where they may sometimes take the trust information. It just all depends on certain things when it comes to the liens and what's going on the property. So, there are some solutions. I will say that.
Well, I know that, but most people try to do it DIY, and that never works out well for them.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, they need a professional.
title is something that people don't really understand until you hear a specific story, but this literally just happened in our office. An FBI agent closed on a house. He moved here, FBI agent, closed on a house, decided to get the title insurance, called us 3 days later and said he'd been overwhelmed, just with all the stuff at the home, buying a home, and, had spent more money than he wanted to at closing, and said, can I get a refund on my title insurance? I just decided I don't want that. We can't just like refund a title policy. The policy had already been made. And so we were like, I'm sorry, we can't do anything about that. It felt very awkward, but that was what we had to say. He had bought that house specifically because it had a great yard. He had 3 kids and he wanted to build a pool. That was his entire thing. And so we get a call 3 months later from him. He says, I just found out, called people out to build a pool. They said that they can't because apparently there's pipes going under my property, 40% of my property. There's various pipes, and they said that they can't dig down deep enough to do a pool. And what do I do with that? And we were like, well, if you had canceled your title insurance, which you can't do, you would have been absolutely screwed. You would have had to find a lawyer. You would have had to pay them money. You would have had to, these things can take years. You would have had to pay them like every single hour that they spend over these years. But luckily, since you got the title insurance for us and we looked through everything and we know that they didn't disclose this information and it's nowhere in the county records for anyone to find, and that this was not done the correct way, we're able to protect you in court. We were able to protect him in court. At the end of the day, we wrote him a check for 560 grand. And so, no, we did not have access to that percentage of his land, but he got that money back because he had paid for that land and he was never able to use it. But otherwise he would have absolutely not had access to that land, drowned in the fees, and would probably have had to foreclose on his house.
Wow. Well, this is great information, Zoya. I like this because we want the conversation. Now we're really getting down to some important things that people need to know. Real life scenario is important because of using these examples, people can possibly relate to this, especially there's other homeowners on this call, people that invest in real estate, lenders, and other people that may have clients that may have experienced this. So please, everybody, this is just the surface level of what Zoya does. She's really good at it. If you have any information, just want to pick her brain. Even if you're not in the DMV area, still reach out. She's still a great connection. I'm sure there's people in your other markets that may still buy and sell in this region. Definitely reach out. She does events as well. So, Zoe, just let us know if you do have an upcoming event and keep us posted. All right. So next we are going to introduce, in fact, Maria just asked the question. So Maria from Green Bay Funding, you are our next presenter, and we want you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do and give us your whole spiel of you're going to present to us about some other helpful tips.
Forgot I was muted. Okay, thank you so much, Shanti, for having me here this evening. Good evening to everyone. My name is Maria Parker. I'm the founder and CEO of Green Bank Funding, just a commercial loan brokerage that I started actually back in 2018. It's actually Independent Investors is my legal name. Green Bank Funding is a DBA. And I basically started from a real estate background. I did option contracts back in 2005, 2003. I was one of those people who used to stay up late at night watching the real estate infomercials. But fast forward, if I could share my screen, I just wanted to kind of so I can get through it quickly if I can. If I remember how to do this. Okay, so here is my oh, I need to move this over. So this is just a pitch deck that I use actually for bankers, but I'm just going to go through a couple of the slides here. Um, this is my company here. So I was connected with a company out of Colorado, Commercial Loan Broker Institute, and I did some training with them. So these two guys here are kind of like my back office support. This kind of just gives a little blur about me because I had done some collateral auditor management back in about 15 years. I did that. I used to go around to different businesses for banks and financial institutions. And also, I go back 40 years with my experience and with working in retail, banking, real estate, worked at the Washington Navy Yard. So that's just a little spill about me. And Shane Walton is a marketing person. So he's my back office support with my website and marketing. And then Derek Brown was a former senior VP for Wells Fargo, and he's there as my mentor and support. So if I ever have deals that might be a little difficult to handle, I can always rely on his support for anything that I need there. So, and then just kind of giving you a little bit about a flyer that I use to send out when people want to know, well, what do you do? Who do you help? And this just is a nice little flyer where I just talk about business funding and real estate from 25,000 to 25 million, financing for working capital, commercial real estate. I kind of really zoom in on commercial real estate mostly, but I do work also with business funding with people that need working capital, equipment financing. And this just talks about a little bit of the programs that lines of credit, project financing, bridge loans, construction, equipment, as I mentioned. And then this is just my contact information here, greenbankfunding.com. There's a lot of information there on my website. And then with the Commercial Loan Broker Institute, we also partnered with a CRE lending desk where we're able to, if we have some deals that, are in between the 500 to $25 million range, we have this outlet that we can use to source a lot of our commercial real estate deals. There's a lot of lenders that I'm directly connected with that I use from SBA to, as I mentioned, bridge financing. This is just another outlet that we have available if we need to use for any of these other types of loans, different scenarios. And so currently, I've been working with Shanti. She had a client that uh, we've been working with, and now I am proud to announce that we are ready to close on this loan or two loans that we had in the pipeline. And so we're ready. I'm trying to bring my screen back up. So we are ready to we're ready to close on that finally. We've been through a lot of loopholes and roadblocks and and you name it, we had to get through it. And I'm the type of person that I'm going to just keep moving. Whatever we need to do to get the deal done and keep it moving, I'm going to try to support it and get things done to the best of my ability. Even if it's something that I don't necessarily handle, it's not my job, type of thing, I'm still going to jump in and whatever I can do to keep that deal moving so we can get it to the finish line. If we don't get it to the finish line, then nobody's happy. Property doesn't transfer title. Nobody receives their compensation. So we want to, that's our goal. And that's, how I operate. Um, I'm not one to, just all about, what am I going to get out of the deal? I want to make sure that the client is happy with, what they receive, and, just more of what they're looking for, and to make sure that they're comfortable and that it's not all about me. So, yeah, and I'm available to, I can upload some of those flyers into the chat if needed, but you can always find me at greenbankfunding.com. Thank you, Shanti and Ty. I really appreciate you both.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much, Maria. I have to comment on the whole thing that you were just talking about. Blood, sweat, and tears on this client and all these loans that we're working on for them. So, that's an example of working and collaborating together to make teamwork, to make a dream work. We're both lenders. We have different types of experience, but we collaborated. I helped the client in one area. She's helping them with obtaining funding. And I'm going to tell you, when we're trying to make something work in a challenging situation, we made it work. So if anybody has something that they maybe it's kind of hard for them to get it done through traditional banking guidelines, then she is the one to pick up the phone and call. I'm going to tell you that. Now, I'm not saying to send her all the challenging files and customers, but she's done a work. We work together to try to get it to this point, but she has been on the ground running. So definitely please reach out to Maria Parker. She is on our website. So if you go to www.masterwealthbuildersllc.com, you can click on her link and get directly to our website. So that way you can directly contact, and I'm sure she is, or if she has already not put her information in the chat. So
But
she's a great
Shante,
resource. Yes, go ahead, TK.
now I was going to say, Maria, excuse me, if you can also send those flyers to me, I would like to post them on our website under the Small Business Spotlight, because that information can go directly to the public, and they can
Yeah.
directly reach out to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Will do.
Yeah, thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much, Maria. And I'm going to tell you, Zoya, I wish you did business in Louisiana because we could have used somebody like you. But we were having a lot of issues with titles. So a lot of stuff you said today very much resonates. We went through a lot with this title company. So they're a small title company out of Louisiana. They don't have a lot of resources. So we had to work on a more old school level with them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Maria, for sharing. So we're going to move right along. There's so much valuable information. In 2 hours, we can't learn everything. We can't do everything. So please keep abreast. All the people here have their own events, their own platforms. We're going to be doing collaboration, like detailed events together and classes where you can expand upon what you're hearing about today. So if you want to know the how-tos to be able to apply for the services that Maria is offering, you see, we have credit people on this call. We have people that can help with paperwork. We have people that have bank that can set you up with a bank account. We have everything represented on this call to get you to these levels. So please take advantage of their resources. Next, I'm honored to have Corey Jenkins with me today. We just recently did an event. He has regular quarterly events or bi-monthly events at the actual banking location. So he is in the community, in the groundwork, helping business owners every day. And I'm telling you, at these events that I've attended so far with him, it's phenomenal. I've worked in banking for many years, and I've never seen banks actually bring people from the public to come in to sit in a room and get resources provided, not just from the bank, but other companies, other resources. He brings them all together. So I'm honored to have him here. He can help you set up a bank account. He's helped clients of mine online. You don't have to go to the bank. He makes it convenient. But Corey, you take it away, talk about all the wonderful things you do, and we'll go from there.
Hey everybody, good evening and happy Wednesday. You got over the hump of the early part of the week, so hopefully you are in a good space. I am Corey Jenkins. As Shante mentioned, I am the AVP for the Harbor Bank of Maryland, specifically in the Silver Spring location. But we worked with individuals in a lot of different locations throughout Maryland, Virginia, and DC, where we help set you up with either a personal account relationship or a business account relationship starting from scratch, right? Working with people like Miss Dennis, she helps bring over clients after they deal with her in a capacity to where we can help them further when it comes to things like lending, or it comes to things like um, introducing them to parties that can help them get their credit in a better space, and multiple things like that. Just to go into some lending things that I've heard about a little bit today. I just want to give you some brief information, right? The brief information is some of the things that we look for when it comes to things in our commercial lending space. Again, I'm not a lender, but I am the liaison to the lender, and we happen to be in the same building. So it's good to kind of go through us in order to have your ducks in a row in order to get lending from us. So, for example, we tend to lend to businesses that's been in their operational space from 2.5 to 3 years plus. And we are asked for your financials, for example, your tax returns, right? Just to name a few things. We'll ask for things like your 3 year business projections, right? We'll ask for a brief summary of the history of the company that you're looking to borrow from. So just multiple things like that. And I don't want to be long-winded because I know you have a few people after me, and I got to get to the next game. And so yeah, so again, we help with small businesses, individuals, and again, I work with my clients as closely as you've ever seen a banker work before, right? A client can call me at 8, well, not call me, but they can text me at 8 p.m. and they'll get a response from me, right? You can ask me questions when you're in dealings with other financial institutions outside of us. And if things don't sound right, or you just need clarification that you didn't necessarily receive from your bank or that institution that you're speaking to, you would call me and say, hey, Corey, how does this sound to you? What's the direction that I can possibly take? And just little things or big things like that, should I say, where you have access to your own personal banker, right? And again, being an AVP and being in the banking space, I know I've never had that before. So I try to provide that to people within the community and people who decide to bank with Harbor Bank, and be in the space of or want to learn more about their capabilities and options when it comes to banking. And that's all I really have today. I can speak more in depth to whatever it is that you all are looking for when it comes to lending, or when it comes to establishing a relationship with a banking institution. Again, my biggest thing is just to be an advocate for you as an individual, and wanting to learn about whatever it is space that you're in. The good thing about me as well is I work with so many other small businesses, and I tend to learn when people speak to me about the passion or whatever it is that they love, right? And I collect information, of course, and I'm able to share that with other business owners who happen to be in that same space, and teach them how to maneuver based off the things that I encountered once upon a time, right? So I don't want to brag on myself or anything, but I'm definitely a good person to deal with, so you can be in a space of knowing when it comes to whatever business that you're in, or whatever it is that you want to do in the financial sense. Are we having some form of a Q&A? Should I
Yes. Does
have
anybody
people?
have any questions or anything to ask Corey while he is here? You can put it in a chat or unmute yourself.
Shante, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
We
you.
can hear. We can hear you. Yes.
Hey, Corey.
How are
Great.
you?
You great. You won me over with them Knicks, man. I'm right there with you on that game.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Does your bank utilize check systems, or if there's
Absolutely.
any like previous challenges from account standpoints? I mean, is there any preclusion, or is there like some workarounds, or how does that work? And that might be a more one-on-one conversation, but just in general.
Absolutely a one-on-one conversation, but I will share this with you. Yes, we do utilize the check systems, right? We utilize check systems to where we can pinpoint where you are and how, and you can utilize a person like me who has a great deal of resources, right? So if you are on check systems and you are uh, not necessarily in the best grace with another institution, you have somebody like me who could kind of uh, get you all the information that you need in order to rectify the situation, and we can work together and maneuver how you can move forward, and or the workaround as you spoke to a little bit earlier.
All right, excellent. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Thank you for the question. Does anybody have any other questions for Corey? All right. So Corey, just make sure you put your information in the chat so people can reach out to you if they want to speak to you and learn how to connect with you, whether it is to be a member of Harvard Bank of Maryland or to find other resources and ways to collaborate.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
All right. So we appreciate you, Corey. Thank you so much. And do you have the date for your next event? So if people here are in the DMV, let them know when the next event is.
Absolutely. So tentative date, I'll put my email in the chat, of course, so you can kind of second with me. But tentative date I have as July 21st. It's a Tuesday evening from 5:30 to 7:30 in the 1010 Wayne Avenue building in Silver Spring, Maryland, to where we are going to be in circle time, basically with other small business owners, whether you've been existing for a large period of time or whether you are thinking about establishing a business or you're just a new business in itself. You get the opportunity to kind of learn from people, meet new people, and just basically be in a space to where you can be vulnerable about your knowledge of where you are in your business or where you want to go, or you have resources that you can tap once you get to know and meet different parties that will attend.
Definitely, Corey. And if you can forward, once you get the flyer, I'll host the flyer on our website so that everybody can see it. And then I also have to get with you because I would like to have a permanent staple on our website where people can see your information.
Absolutely. I'll get with you for sure.
All right, perfect.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so much, Corey. And next we have another great person. He's going to introduce himself, Paul Randall. And like I said, his topic matter today. He's going to be telling you and talking to you about what he does, and how he operates within his organization. So, Paul, take it away. Tell them all about yourself. And if you
Good
need to
evening.
share your screen, let me
Hey,
know. You can share your screen as well.
okay. Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
You can see me. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Rand, as Shante said. Actually been in the mortgage financial arena for going on 22 or 23 years now. So I've saved over 1,000 homes nationwide. Got into the mortgage industry back in 2004 and residential as well as commercial. So coming from sales, most of my business partners, we started there and then transitioned to real estate as well as the financial arena. So that being said, just had encounters with different aspects of mortgages. And I just want to give you a little history, a lot of information people not aware of and how mortgages work. You may have done it for years, but banks keep it to themselves, and just to give you, just some information that can help yourself as well as others, things what to do and what to ask. So, in 1933, Roosevelt, whose father was a banker, took us off the gold standard. What happened was they bankrupted America. Um, if you look at the newspaper, it'll tell you what they actually was act of treason. They made everyone turn in their gold. So there was no more gold. So they devised a system where the money would come from. So the money would come from you, your signature, your name. You are now the money. And that stands to this day, how bonds and other things are created. So what happens is the day you go to closing, your mortgage is paid 100% by you. How does that happen? What happens is they monetize your signature. In other words, they convert your signature to cash by virtue of a promissory note. They never loaned you any money. Let me say that again. They never loaned you any money. Okay? To prove that point, there's so many aspects, and just because of length of time, go look at your closing docs. You can write this down. It's very important. And look for the signature page. Okay? And look at the signatures. And I want you to participate in this, and you can open your mics because I believe in engaging. When you went to closing, it could be anyone. Who was there with you at closing, if you remember?
A notary, and that's literally it because my realtor couldn't make it.
Okay, anyone else? And this happens every day across the United States.
And I'm that person that usually handles that, depending if I don't have a vested interest in it. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. So anyone else before I go on? Want to take a stab? Okay. So you're correct. Usually as a realtor, sometimes the broker be there and the title company. But who's not there, which is very important. That's the bank. And in order to make a contract valid, both parties must sign. Okay? That's a basic contract law. Don't take my word for it. Ask any contract attorney. Both parties must sign. It could be on a napkin or whatever, but in order by law in America, by virtue of the Constitution and how the laws are written here, both parties must sign. Go get your closing documents. Look on the signature line. You won't see the signature because they never signed. And the reason they didn't sign because they weren't there, and they know this. That's why they never show up. So it's dead on his face from inception. So that's the first initial fraud that took place. They committed fraud by adhesion and fraud by coercion. They committed fraud by adhesion. They added something that you didn't have full knowledge of. And fraud by coercion, they coerced you to do something that you didn't have full knowledge of. So fraud, there's no statute of limitation because as it relates to that, it can be brought up anytime later. So that's the first thing that happened. The bank was never there, and they knew that it would be double jeopardy if they showed up because they knew they were committing fraud. See, a criminal is a criminal, so they're not going to tell you what they're doing. They said, well, why is everybody? Because that's the activity. In addition to that, the Federal Reserve, which is not federal, nor is any money in reserve, they file separate articles of incorporation in Puerto Rico, which makes them a foreign national. They're not a government. They're not they're a foreign entity. And the bank's charter is 99 years. And theirs, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, and they hadn't reinstituted. If you have a police officer and you live in Maryland and a police officer from Georgia comes, he or she cannot pull you over for one simple reason. They don't have what we call jurisdiction. In like fashion, so is the Federal Reserve. It's a bank. They're a bank. They're not a government. So they can't have involvement in American citizens. So this is the construct. If you look up the Federal Reserve, how a lot of people don't even know how they function and how they became to be. And you can look up, it's a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. I admonish everyone to get an opportunity to read that. All my brokers always tell me to go there. That tells you, and there's another book called Modern Money Mechanics. It tells you how money works. So the banking system started in America. They found out that people weren't coming in. Back then we had the gold where we like actually physical gold and would turn it in. So what they found out was people weren't coming in. So they devised a system. Okay, let's create some type of paper, as it were, form of currency. So what they did is, and what they're doing even still, if there's $1 million, they would actually loan out more than what they actually had in reserve. So because they figured, okay, everybody's not going to come at one time. But it happened in the 20s when actually Rockefeller created the run on the banks. And as a result, they didn't have enough money to pay everybody out. So with that, that's how they came up with this system of fractionalization, so to speak. And there's not that much. So banks get what you call a 30-1. For every dollar you put in the bank, they get 10. For every 10, 100. For every 1,000, 10,000, and so forth. So if you got 10,000 in the bank, they have 100,000. It's called a 10-1. And in addition to that, from 12 midnight to 6 in the morning, it's called a bank sweep. You can't transfer money over because they are moving money at that particular time. They've changed things to a certain degree because of the digitalization of the currency. And as a result, that's what took place. And when I say currency, the law says money should be coined. So what we have is fiat. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. It has no value. JFK filed Executive Order 11110, which took the money from the Federal Reserve and placed it back in the Department of Treasury where it belonged. Now we were a debt-free country. That's when he came out with the $2 silver certificates. It said this is backed by silver or backed by gold. We owed no one anything. And prior to 1921, Jekyll Island, when the Federal Reserve was formed, we had no deficit. Now you can look at the, go online and Google the actual live table that tells you where we are, and it's trillions. We owe, what Trump did actually is how we dealt with what we had, which was tariffs. And he was correct on that point. We had no debt. We were a debt-free country. So as a result, because of the tariffs, and that's how we work, income tax, you cannot charge a person's income. Okay, a tax must be a portion, meaning if you go to Giant, Safeway, or what have you in DC, the tax is probably 7%. Shantae's not going to pay 5%. TK, pay 4%. Corey pays 2%. John pays 1%. That's not a portion. That's a direct tax rather. So all those things, all this is private banking information that you'd never get. The bankers going back to closing, I had to set that up to kind of give you an idea of what took place. So when they monetize your signature, they convert your signature to cash by virtue of the promissory note. Because now you are the money. That's what happened in 1933. When they bankrupt America, they had to divide the system. So if you look at your driver's license, your name's in all caps because you are the bank. Your name should never be in all caps. Caps denotes a corporation. Your name should be caps lowercase. I had a client, I was sharing this with him as I were with you. He said, yes, I know that to be true. I said, why is that? He said, because I teach this in college. So a person's name is caps lowercase. So when you have a corporation form an LLC, it should be all caps because that denotes business. And because people don't know this, it's private banking information. So when you go to closing, you need to say, where's the agreement between you and I to make this contract valid? Okay? It never happened. So consequently, fraud was committed, unbeknownst to you. And that's the whole thing behind a scheme. The person or persons in front of you don't have full knowledge of. So the next thing that happened is within 2 weeks to 2 months, they take your loan and $2,500 to $5,000. They bundle them together and they sell them to foreign investors as mortgage-backed securities. I want to say that word again because you probably never thought about it. Mortgage-backed securities. Now it's a security or a stock. Once it's stock, it's forever stock. It can never go back to being a mortgage. Now it falls on the auspice of SEC and treated as such and not a mortgage. Because the minute they bundle them together, it ceased to be a mortgage. That's called bifurcation. It can't coexist. It's either one thing or another. Okay. So that's what took place. Once it's converted, just like you being converted to a Christian, you leave that away, the old man, and now you're something new in like fashion. That's what happened. It's now stopped. And to prove that point, it has something you call a CUSIP number, CUSIP, which identifies it as stock. And that's what it has. Your birth certificate, the list goes on. But that's what took place. And then it's sold to them, and now the mortgage is paid for again. And that's the second time it's paid for. It's sold to foreign investors as A-rated. And a lot of it wasn't. You look up, there's a movie called, and I was shocked they put it out, called The Big Short. And it got an Oscar. And it tells you all about it. There's another one called 99 Homes. That's the personal side of foreclosures. Very emotional. I only watched it one time because it was too close to home. I lived this in terms of helping people and seeing the reality of what that does. So the banks never lose money. Okay, keep this in mind. The minute you put your money in your bank, they get a 30 to 1, okay, or 10 to 1 up to a 30 to 1. So that before they begin to trade, so they take your 10,000, 100,000, that's off of GPA. They actually go in and trade it, and they're going to double your money within a month. And I'm being modest, it's less time than that, just so you can grasp. So now the banks are never in trouble. You know, they came out too big to fail. And that was a movie too as well. And as a result, CNN announced on national television fraudulent foreclosure. So it wasn't a question of if there was foreclosure. It was a matter of fact, so much so that all 49 attorney generals went up against the banks. And they had to come up with about $52 billion. The one who wasn't there, the particular attorney general, because it's 50, he felt that they should pay more, and I agree. But that money was set aside, but it never went to the homeowners. Okay, went to slush funds. It went to paying individuals to process it. You probably saw the 60-minute episode when they had the signature fraud, and they had the signature mill. One was in Georgia and elsewhere, and the guy said one day I'm gonna get caught, and sure enough, he was on 60 Minutes. So that's the second time your mortgage is paid for. The first time was when you went to closing, they never loaned you any money. And all you have to do is ask the bank, where is the check that you say you loaned? So how it happens is if I'm getting a loan from you, you loan me the money. I can't give this to the seller. And therefore, or they would send me a wire. But ask the bank, where's the check that you say you loaned? They can't produce it. They can't give you an answer because they never loaned any money. And they knew that and still know that. So that's the first time. The second time, when they sell it to foreign investors, they bonded together, became mortgage-backed securities. It's no longer mortgage. So you don't have an obligation to pay them because it ceased to be a mortgage. The third time they get paid, if you're in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure, 30 days late, in order to get a loan modification, many of you may know this, and this is how I came into the industry. In order to get a loan modification, they tell you need to be not 30, not 60, but 90 days late. 90 is significant because on the 91st day, they get paid 70 to 100% of the value of the home from the remake. And that's short for real estate mortgage investment can do. 70 to 100% value of the home. The debt is settled yet again. So there's no obligation there because it's been discharged, which you never owed them, keep in mind from the beginning. And this is how deep this goes. So that's the third time. And then when they foreclose on you, they get to wash, rinse, and repeat all over again. And that's how the whole foreclosure structure and even purchase your home work. Because when you buy a home, you go to closing, this must be consideration. Realtors know this language. I give you this pen in exchange for whatever else. There was no consideration in the beginning. So it's fraud on its face. So those are the different aspects of the foreclosure process. If you're in foreclosure, what I will tell you, Open the mail and read it. Anyone here who does credit repair, it's the same principle. It's a 30-day rule. So if you don't respond, then they're going to respond in kind, and then it accelerates. There's other things you can do, forbearance, a couple other tricks of the trade that's out there. But knowing your rights is a big key. So you get anything, read it, respond back if you don't know how to respond. And a lot of times, attorneys, they really don't know because they're real estate attorneys. It's different than in terms of knowing private banking. This is private banking that was never supposed to get out. I had some documents I filed and I found out this one attorney, he was with the Federal Reserve, which is the highest level of banking. And his affidavit had everything that I put in over the years. I've been doing this since 2011, going on 14 years, 15 years now. I've saved over 1,000 homes nationwide, directly and indirectly. Club Love, the biggest club in DC, just spoke to Dean the other day, saved that. It was in the Washington Times. So there are remedies. I've had my average client has been behind a year or 2 years. Most of them are women. I've had eviction notices. People say I'm gonna get ready to get evicted next week, and I was able to stop it.
Yeah, Paul, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, can you please talk to our audience about because we've sent clients to you that
Yes.
you've helped. So I
Yes.
was going to say, can you talk about the people that we already referred to you or a client that
Yes.
you've helped that came from
Yes.
our network?
Yes. Sarah, I talked to one yesterday, as a matter of fact. They actually had a sale date. And in a matter of days, and that's what's been happening. And I was able to stop it. You know, my mantra is I stopped the sheriff, but I didn't shoot a deputy. That wasn't me. So with that, the sheriff, my worst case scenario was 3 days, and I've actually had the sheriff at the house. Matter of fact, that week it would happen, I think, twice, if not 3 times, and was able to stop the sheriff. So, you know, only person who can foreclose on you is not a realtor, not a broker, but the sheriff. That's how the laws were constructed. So if someone comes to your house, a broker, people come to your house, investors, they receive information. The first form of defense is answer the mail. Secondly, put a no trespassing sign out in your yard, because now you can hit them with trespassing laws. I don't care who comes on your property. By law, something as simple as that sign can trip them up because it's no trespassing, and you have that right. The property is still yours. A lot of people leave and they get foreclosure. That's not the end. Eviction is the worst case scenario for me. I'm not fearful at any event because I gave you the worst case. The sheriff was at the house. I don't want you to get that late, but people call me, you know, at the 11th hour. When there's 1 hour, I kid you not, I had one client years ago when I first started. She was in another, her property was in Hawaii. She called me on Thursday. She was supposed to get back to me. She didn't get back to me. She said Tuesday morning, and the sale was taking place at 1 o'clock, and I was able to stop. I had another couple that had already moved out their house. They've been out for 2 years. They came to me. I said, "Is anyone in the house?" They said, "No." I said, "Okay, take the locks off, put a no trespassing sign up, and then let the bank know they're trespassing." Here's the secret behind that. If you have a car, a vehicle, and you leave it on the side of the road, they give you a certain amount of time to come back and get it, or it's considered what? Abandoned. Same thing with your property. Here's how they deceive you again. The foreclosure, you leave, they tell you to leave, but they trick you. Why? You heard this terminology I'm using, you've heard it numerous of times, but not as it relates to this. Possession is 9/10 of the law. That's what they tell you about drugs. The same is with your home. That's still your house. And keep in mind, from the beginning, they never owned your house. They had to show proof that they own it. Where's the contract between you and me? That's the question. Show me the wet ink signature. And that's how the laws were created. And with everything, that could be renter center, your car, they need to show you the wet ink signature. Student loans, I've done all this. So with that, that's a key component. They created the laws. I didn't. And that's what's on the book, the Constitution. And as a result, that's what it says. Even with income tax, the Constitution said we made no new laws as it relates to taxation. Even Supreme Court adheres to that, which is the highest court in the land. But you don't know what you don't know can hurt you. So my people perish for lack of knowledge. So the more you get, and I think TK and Shantae for open this up as many as others who've spoken in different areas of expertise, because we have to get the word out to the masses. Right now, there's like 118,000 foreclosures currently, up 26% from last year. So people are running and leaving their homes. Don't leave. That sweat, blood, and tears you put in that just your home. That's your legacy. That's your dynasty. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children, but if they take it, you can't leave anything. So put it in the trust, and those things are important. Foundations, et cetera, et cetera. Very key component to do that. So those are key elements in terms of just what you need to do. I just make sure I cover basic tenants. Open the mail, no trespassing sign. If you're in dire straits, there are other things we can do. Look at your documents, see if you have the signature page. And there's something else that's on there that I look for rather. There's a stamp that says pay to the order of. And I can't get into depth right now, but only place you see that language is on a check. That's proof positive they converted your signature to cash by virtue of the promissory note. And the money came from you. They never loaned any money. That property belongs to you. So it was a scheme devised from the beginning. But now you know. And there are more, phases to it. I had one client that sent a document out. It was a pastor. His mortgage was, I think, 400 and something thousand, close to 500,000. And as a result of that one letter, they reduced his mortgage by 72, 74,000 every November for the next 3 years. Another gentleman in Acton, his mortgage was 550,000. His monthly was 5,000 a month. His interest rate was about 4 or 5%. As a result of that one letter, they reduced his interest from 4% down to 2%. His monthly from 5,000 to 2,500, and his principal from 550,000 down to 250,000. And I was sharing this with one attorney. He's like, "Oh, that doesn't work." So I began to share, like with you as I did with him, and he hung up on me. And see, attorneys, these real estate attorneys, I got stories. I don't use attorney. I just had one, and if I bring my clients, they'll tell you. They came at the last minute, but I put stuff in place, and she had a foreclosure and saved it. One in Baltimore. Again, this client knew me about a year, came back at the last minute. Don't do that, please don't do it. It's just, if my name is on it, I'm gonna stop it. But I tell people move forward. Some people inspire me to take my material, you can have my material, but you don't have what I know and the timing and the sequence. So that's important. Even attorneys, I've trained attorneys. But with that, it's just things that this is private banking information that they never want to get out. They never
I was
want you
going
to
to say
know.
that. I was going to say
Yeah.
that. I was going to say once you start talking about the Siskiyou Trust Act of 1666, and you start
Yes.
talking about how the private money banking
Right.
laws apply to individuals and individuals are the bank, you're the grantor. They say that in business all
Right.
the time
Right.
because your
Yes.
signature literally creates the money. But you know what? We're going to have more in-depth classes. I know a lot of this information is probably new to you guys, and because it's so this is one of the things I've always said about master your wealth building. When you empower yourself with information, it gives you the ability to make better decisions. Paul said the same thing. He said, "You don't know what you don't know." So, guess what happens when you're lacking civics, when you don't know contract law, when you have no clue how to exercise yourself in business? Guess what happens? You get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So, I want
And
you
in
guys
there,
to go ahead, Paul.
I just agree with you. In there, whatever you don't know, it could be, if you don't know AI, how it works, if you don't know how these cell phones work, you're getting duped because you're lacking in that area of knowledge. So, in this age and era, everything is at our fingertips. We should be, more proactive in terms of what we have available, and not be lazy.
Definitely. Paul's information is on our website. The flyer that he talked about is under Small Business Spotlight, where he specializes in foreclosures. And we're going to definitely have other classes where Paul participates to give you this in-depth knowledge because he knows it like the back of his hand. And when you start to master civics, like I said, it just gives you the ability to make better decisions and it gives you the power economically to survive, right? And that's the purpose of mastering your wealth. You want to survive economically.
Yeah.
Shantae, are
And
you
I would
still
say I
there?
had,
Yeah,
yeah,
go
she's
ahead,
there.
Paul.
Yeah, I would say I had many people that would come to me, investors. My thing is I have a passion for the people keeping your home because that's your legacy. I get it, short sales. I don't do any of that. And the things I do is just, just to keep them in their home. That's your biggest investment that you ever make. And you didn't buy that to lose it. I have people from other cultures, Ethiopia, whatnot. They have generational wealth that's passed on. Here in America, as African Americans, each generation we start from ground zero, each generation, because things are not in the trust. I love every time TK mentions his trust, he said, he's living off his mother's trust. That's one of the greatest things. He said, I get a check for 5,000 or whatever it was a month. That puts him ahead of the game. So if you have a home to leave to your children, and then now they don't have to start over, they can get that and build from that and use the equity to pay for their college and other things and start their businesses and leverage that, then yes, that's a plus. So we have to galvanize and work together. It's Black Wall Street, and I always say that recreating Black Wall Street in Prince George County is that richest Black neighborhood in America. I don't know if it's still there, it changes from time to time, but long story short, we have to work together to achieve. You work through the differences. That's a part of, being human, you know. To forgive is divine, to err is human. Okay. So yeah. So any questions? I'm here. Whatever. I don't want to monopolize on the time that I was allotted.
Yes, thank you so much, Paul. We do appreciate you. And he has a whole lot much more to share. Like he said, he'll have other events. He has his other own things going on. We'll be doing things collaboratively. But as a testimony to him actually helping recently, we worked together for many years, Paul. But the client you just recently helped, that was like a midnight hour situation. So I'm telling you, like just like what I said about Maria earlier, with helping a client close on their deal, what they were working on with their real estate needs, and being in a challenging situation that nobody else would touch. We did literally the everything was walked into the judge the day of the foreclosure sale. So he was able to stop. I just had the meeting with the client yesterday, so Paul, we will follow up. So I am working with him on other things, but the bottom line is these are things that you're not going to find traditionally. Most people don't even know where to start. They would just take, like he said, they would just lose their property, they would lose their home, not know what their options are. So, anybody that knows somebody, even if you're not in that situation, there's a lot of lenders, funders, and professionals on this call. Please get in contact, have Paul's information. He is definitely a unique resource to have outside of traditional ways.
Even if you're current, sometimes the spike in your mortgage payments and other things, there's some irregularities. We used to do securitization audits.
Mhm.
Um, you just have to know that because they will bully you. You have rights. And if you don't know your rights, they're going to keep moving. But I do say this all the time, answer anything that comes to the mail. I don't run for it. I look for it so you can know how to respond to them, and know how to deal with that in a timely fashion. Because your silence is an admission of guilt. They may never tell you that in court. So if the judge asks you something, you don't say anything, believe it or not, your silence is an admission of guilt. And these are part of the laws of the construct, how they created the laws and the governments here, but it's not taught in school, which we don't have. Finance, we go through elementary and then even on a collegiate level. They don't teach you about trading. They don't teach you about all the things as trust. Why isn't that taught on a lower level in terms of elementary level, let alone on a collegiate level? It should be mandatory because they don't want you to know. Michael
I
Jackson said it best. All I want to say is they don't really care about us. That keeps
Now, I was
the
going to
young
say, I
people.
agree with you, Paul, 100%. That's one of my passions. We actually are striving to create a nonprofit side where we do financial literacy club.
Excellent.
We're part of one of the biggest RIAs in Loudoun County, and we just went there last night. But he has a viral
Wow.
community because he teaches without charging. And honestly, we really want to do that, but for financial literacy instead of for real estate. So,
That's
um,
an excellent proposition. Not to cut you off, but we need to have that implemented in schools before they graduate. Everyone should know how to buy a house. Should know about credit. My cousin, we call it the college of knowledge, and for that reason, why are we so behind? It's by design. It's not rocket science. Why would you want your citizens to know this information? Then we wouldn't have so much debt and other things. But it's by design. So, but what TK is saying is needed passionately. We did a financial literacy at Howard University, and we had Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant game. If you don't have it, get it. They have one for teenagers. It's amazing. It's Monopoly on steroids. It has stuff like child support, taxes, all of that, and it really will show you 100%. It's going to show you your investment style and what you need to work on. But the goal is to get out of rat race. You could be a CEO, and someone else could be a janitor, and the janitor could get out the rat race before the CEO. It's a game, but it's, as I said in the street, it's not a game. It really shows you cash flow quadrant. But thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
I can talk all day. I got to
Thank you, Paul. We
stop.
just went over that last night in Cash Flow Breakfast Club. So yes, that is definitely what we live by, what we teach by, and there's so much more to add to it because we had a little debate to add to that because there's a part Kiyosaki didn't teach. So there's more, type of
Yeah.
ways to teach and educate and compound on that. So yep. Love it. So thank you so much, Paul. We'd love to have you.
Thank
Please
you.
get his information. His phone number's right here. He's also, like TK said, on the website where you can go directly, get direct access. But everybody should have a Paul in their corner for situations where people need help. I say be proactive and be reactive. I mean, no, be proactive and not reactive all the
Mhm.
time. So have somebody to
Yeah.
help you navigate through tough and challenging situations. Thank you, Paul. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank
So,
you.
so does anybody have any questions for Paul while he's still on? Like just quick questions because we are running low on time, but we said this is interactive. So if you have a quick question outside of the private setting that could be helpful, now's the time to ask. Does anybody have questions for Paul?
I just want to thank Paul. He did, and Shanti, because I had a client, and they both responded at the 11th hour. It was late at night, and, Shanti got Paul, and Paul got on the phone with my client.
Uh,
So, he was there, and I just want to thank you so much for making yourself available. To speak with my client and everything. So I just really appreciate both of you for stepping in and being available at that last minute. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I was in the bed, Maria. I think it was like 11 o'clock at night. It was really midnight hour for real.
It was. So just really appreciate you. But yep, thank you so much. And I'll definitely keep your information. Yep, for future, people who need help.
I
Oh,
appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. So this is what it's about. See how we collaborate. We're all working together to help people to grow together. It's not just about us. We're really intentful. It's not about just getting something from somebody or providing a service. We're really helping and saving people. So, this is what it's about. Please get everybody's number. We're not about, we call it the rah-rah. We're about intentionality and organic grassroots. Let's help people together. So Melissa couldn't be here tonight, but that's okay. We're going to do a part two to this because we can't talk all night, but we can go on about different real estate strategies, tactics, things that help people all day. But we are going to have a part two come in July, just going to be focused on real estate investors. So if you or anybody you know that's in the investment space or wants to get detailed information on unique funding and lending and all types of strategies that can help outside the box. We will have some representative coming forward on from Cashflow Breakfast Club. We had Omni Casey a year ago. introduce himself. He is the best-selling author of Cash Flow Breakfast Club and probably one of the top people in this country that cash flows well in real estate. So we're gonna keep bringing the knowledge to you, the experts. So join us in the future for that conversation. TK and I are going to be doing other classes that are more focused in detail on getting down to advanced strategies, how to use them, how to implement them, and how to set them up on the long-term planning side. So we're going to talk more on another class, but I will say this is why me and TK do our side of what we do. Everything we do is applicable to business owners, real estate professionals, homeowners, or everyday people and people working and striving to reach a goal. The United States, these are accurate numbers. This is not about per race. This is the whole entire United States. Majority of people are financial facing some sort of financial instability. They're not prepared to make it if they lose a paycheck. Even middle class, even if you had some savings, they're starting to have issues. So we want to make sure people are leveraged and balanced to be able to still move forward with the things they do. These are the things that me and TK harp on is teaching leveraging, redirection strategy. Some people say, I don't have it. I don't have the money. I don't have the assets. My business is spending more than what it brings in. So we're working on increasing cash flow, helping people create multiple streams of income. Like you said, Paul, about the quadrant, we talked about that last night. The people in the quadrant have assets. That's the difference between a person working for a paycheck and even middle class America has liabilities. So we're in the business of helping people from wherever they at. You don't have to be affluent, you don't have to be wealthy, you don't have to be rich, but we'll help you build your portfolio, whatever that looks like. It could be diverse. ENTK focus on off-market strategies, but we also partner. You see, we have banks on the line. We made another partnership today. We actually have a generational wealth specialist that's here on the call today. So we work with people to say, hey, we're going to help you build your financial portfolio. Make sure you have a safety net so that way when you go after funding for either a property, for business purposes, you can say, I am strong and I have an asset base to collateralize against. What we have created and what we have started is called the Wealth Leverage Blueprint. I am currently working on some things. So we should be able to have something published hopefully by the end of the year. I'm collaborating with other like-minded professionals. We are also a partner with Dr. Shirley Liu and Associates, as well as the firm for financial security, which she is the author of the best-selling books IUL ASAP, coming out with the book FIA ASAP, which is focused on fixed index annuities. And that's what we focus on to educate our clients in the realm of leveraging. So because I am a loan officer, I have all these hats that I've covered over the years with taxes and lending and being in underwriting, and both on the banking funding side for business lending and residential lending. So with that knowledge, I'm working on teaching people and educating through this manual on how to actual structure where your asset and the interest on the asset is earning more than the loan you take out, which we consider and we talk about net zero lending strategies. So when you come to our event that we're going to have come in July, it's not going to be like this format. It's going to be an intense class and an educational session that's going to teach you how to structure your assets so they work for you. So it's the bank loans are a lot of interest. So we don't want you just to rely on, I got to take a loan out. I got to go to SBA. There's nothing wrong with any of those things because we help our clients with that every day. But we want to say if you have to take out a loan, whether it's with your business assets in combination with your personal assets, is you being the guarantor of your business and real estate business, that you have access to capital at all times. And you don't have to take the money that you saved and worked hard for out the bank. You don't have to use all the money from the close of a sale or a capital gain. There are efficient strategies through taxation and also lending while building assets. We teach people how to access capital without traditional bank approval. So we still want you to have good credit. We want your paperwork and documents to be right, but we can help with outside the box thinking, and it's not just by the assets me and TK are doing. we have real life examples, like we talked about with Maria and our customer was sharing earlier, where he doesn't have the credibility. He doesn't have his paperwork in order. There are things we're working behind the scenes to make sure he does have them in order going forward, but we were still able to help him, and we're helping him build his assets and other things. The goal is that with entrepreneurs, we don't have that, leniency on a job, company benefits, getting that 401k match, those great health benefits. Maybe the cost of health benefits being an entrepreneur are more expensive. So that's why we partner with companies that can help reduce those costs, while TK and I and our team members and other people in our organization help you build those assets. The most thing is that advisors, as a licensed, I used to be on the securities and banking side before I went on this side. So I know we don't, first of all, we don't know to talk about them because we're not licensed to do so. The other thing is that, we can only work and help people with the on-market vehicles and strategies that we traditionally would provide. But if you were educated on other options, we do have a focus. People don't know. I feel like annuities are the hidden gem. It's just like gold, and they have been around since the dawn of time. The Greek Roman Empire funded their wars through annuities. But of course, since 2,000 years ago, it has evolved. And there's a lot of A-rated institutions that we collaborate with, do business with. I have personally taken the time over the course of my career to understand the inner workings and the engineering of these vehicles. So that way, when I'm teaching it or making recommendations to a person in front of me, I am coming from the approach about what's your goal and what vehicle will work best to match and customize your plan to help you reach a goal. The other critical part, just like I said, it gives you tax advantages, liquidity and control, and you can access capital for business expansion or real estate goals. So some of these vehicles we have access to allow you to take out without penalty, and they give you interest as a bonus to be able to grow your money exponentially. So that way, that's say maybe to put down, you need a down payment on your property of $30,000. Well, if you roll over, say you had $100,000 in an IRA, a Roth IRA sitting in the bank, a securities account that's not performing, or you're rolling over from a job that you are no longer employed with, you may be able to get a 21% on day one. We have vehicles that can do anywhere between 14 and 21% that you'll earn on that interest. So use that money, use the bank's money versus your money. The other thing is that we're teaching people you can control, even if you go back to work. We work with a lot of entrepreneurs and real estate professionals that are still in the workforce, but they're trying to find a way to transition to being a self-employed individual, a business owner, and maybe building a real estate portfolio. So if they capitalize on using their savings or long-term savings versus depleting, we ran into a lot of that. A lot of people, not just federal workers, private sector workers, have lost their jobs in the last 10, I would say 10 months. Big time. We know what's going on in our country right now. Hmm. So we are educating those folks. Don't just run and deplete your savings accounts. Find strategies. We're helping people with as much detail as how do we reduce your debt? Maybe go down to a bare bones budget so that you can retain more income money, still be able to meet your living, your daily activities, and be able to function without depleting your savings. So we're doing a lot. It's not just one thing or the other. The other thing is that we're teaching people, there's so many strategies. It doesn't have to be one thing. You can create a whole portfolio out of just using this strategy. There's different types of annuities. There's different type of strategies. There's annuities that produce for goals of income. So we always talk about financial freedom number, especially in real estate. What is that number that will you would say that if you wanted to stop working today, or maybe you just wanted to live more passively, let somebody else run your business, that you could say, if I had $10,000 a month tax free for the rest of my life or tax advantage withdrawals, would that be good for me? So with these vehicles, you can actually structure it where if I contribute this money monthly, yearly, that I will reach that goal with multiple vehicles. So you can have one that earns an income strategy. You can have one that earns and saves over 10 years without an upfront interest bonus. that will give you a pot of money that can be distributed as a pension that you can stretch out to age 113. That's not really that's really unheard of. Most retirement plans, when we did traditional retirement planning in banking and securities, we only plan to age 90 and then people would live off of Social Security. But now we're in a day of age, Social Security is not that never was going to get you anywhere no matter what. But that's an unstable situation. But even if it's still available, that only accounts for 40% of your working income. So you have to have multiple ways. If you have a pension from a job or a government contract or a government job, that's wonderful. Still have that, but you need to have additional streams of income. This is an example of a client that I actually did. I have a client that had a $1 million portfolio, and it doesn't have to be big portfolios. If you have small amounts of money, you can still build up and do the same thing. But they literally were planning to, okay, if they lost their government job and they wanted to start a business or go full time with their part-time business, they wanted just to have options. So no matter what happened, they were covered. So what we did is we took a few $100,000, divided it up into different accounts. But see, what we didn't do, we didn't move the whole $1 million. That person had investments in silver. They had investments in a Charles Schwab portfolio. They had investments in self-directed stocks and bonds through E-Trade. They had a very good, nice diversified portfolio. So we did recommend for the stocks that are performing, the ones that are not performing, we did sell down and move over to reevaluate your portfolio with your advisor. So we still work in tandem with the advisor. Hey, make sure you're in the right places. You're, being invested in the right mutual funds, EFTs, or whatever the strategy is. But because of your age, you're aging over the age of 50. So the next 10 years, you don't have 10 years to make back even if it wasn't $1 million portfolio, if the market went down in the next months or over the next couple years. So we took 70% out of the market volatility and moved it to a fixed index annuity that had protection of principal, but still gives growth. But the contributions on day one, they earned between 14, at that time it was 23% on all the funds moved over. So her portfolio literally increased a few $100,000 and brought it up. So over time, the example would be on that. And these are non-guaranteed values. So I just want to keep in mind it's always projected based on conservative and reality and based on past performance of the last 20 years. So in this situation, at age 70, based upon what we did for that person, we moved 200,000 into a fixed accumulating annuity strategy. So keep in mind, an annuity is nothing more than a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA still operating under those guidelines into this particular vehicle. But instead of being on the market going up and down like a traditional IRA, it's being protected by the backing of the insurance company. So $200,000 gives that person estimated give or take. Now it can't perform better. Of course, we can estimate the market will do better, but we're being conservative. So this includes years of zero. So even this year is predicting that a client might not earn any money in the market because of the volatility. But even with over a 10-year period or by age 70, this person will have this is more than double the amount they started with. You can be at work for 20 years in a traditional 401k and still don't end up with a half a million in your account. So the reason we broke up the money is so we have multiple strategies. So what she can do is take RMDs after age 73, now the age of 73, and being able to take interest and live off the interest or the RMDs from this particular account. Now, Estate Shield, in this strategy, we put aside $300,000. So we're solving for income now. So an Estate Shield is a hybrid of an income producing vehicle and an asset building vehicle. So the money continues to grow even when the money annuitizes. So what that means is whatever age you decide, in this situation, we're doing age 70. If that person decides, I want to take the stream of income, it locks up. But what it does, it starts at whatever the amount was. So the total amount of the account value for income ended up being $1,090,000 off of starting with in this situation was $200,000. Imagine. So she still made money on the money. Now, if you notice, the growth isn't as much as the asset shield, but the strategy was in this scenario we were trying to earn money for income. So it gives like a 35% overall interest over a period of time in 10 years. So because of that, it kind of quadrupled the money that she would currently receive in income up until age 113. So the income starts at $66,000 on average for the first year, but it incrementally increases year after year. So it guarantees at least a minimum of a 2% increase. And guess what? In our country is a 2% increase. Inflation. Now, inflation, I believe, right now at this point is more than 2%. But, we're always going up against inflation. So if you're going to be retired at some point, the value of the dollar today is not going to be the value of a dollar 20 or 30 or 40 years out. So you need a vehicle that's going to offer the option of not just that fixed amount you get from your pension or your 401k plan. You need, in addition to that, and your Social Security, something that's increasing from year to year. Because I see a lot of elderly people right now that can't afford to pay their bills. They can't afford to pay even into their Medicare, the electric, or whatever, because the rate of inflation, they can't keep up with their fixed income. The other
Yeah,
third thing, go
it's
ahead.
called a market value adjustment.
hmm Yep, so it's called market value adjustment, correct, TK. The other thing, and when we have our class, we'll go deeper into that terminology and helping you understand. So we just wanted to make sure you knew how it worked. And last and not least, we divided up 200,000 of the money into what was called an income shield annuity, which is a traditional IRA that at a certain date or time, you're going to have a income investment to be able to divide up over a period of time. We usually divide it up and estimate it to 113 years. So that way, if you live that long, prosperous life, hopefully you don't have that juice by the time we get older that makes us live longer. But of course, if you care for your body, there are people across the world that have lived to close to 120 years old. But at least no matter what, you won't run out of money. So the income on this is end up equating on her particular projections to be 84,000 a year. So that's a fixed income for the rest of her life up until age 113 based on dividing up $1,120,000. So that's why we do multiple strategies because one thing is not the same and one thing operates differently. And in her scenario, she ended up doing more of these. So she has about five of them. Plus, she still has her other portfolio. So this is a healthy way to grow money. So we just want to make sure we continue educating the public. That is our sole focus right now. The market is very volatile. I teach back from the Great Depression about indicators in our market. We actually talked about it in an event we went to last night that the indicators, now we can't tell you the market's going to crash or we're going to have something similar or something that mimics what happened in the Great Depression. But if that were to happen, you just want to know you're secure. You don't have to worry about anything, that all your money is in a better place. Or you have some money that you still can do the IPOs and the high risk things. They can add great value and exponential value, but you don't want to be in a position where you're taking exponential losses. So that's what me and TK do. We're teaching
Yeah,
people how to leverage.
I
Um,
was going to say, that the key takeaway, if you've never been introduced to fixed index annuities, is that number one, is not in the stock market, so you're no longer losing money because the contract comes with principal protection. So you get some of the upside potential, but none of the downside risks. The second thing is you get a death benefit equal to the value of your account. Your 401k is never going to do that. So in the example of the customer we just showed you, those values also had a death benefit equal to that account value. So this is a way for you to create your own pension. We always try to tell people, even if you have a job and you love your job, use a fixed index annuity to create your own pension. That way that you can survive outside of your job because you control it.
Correct. And then it has a lot of benefits too. So if you're over the age of 59 and a half, and when you get that age, if you choose to do incremental withdrawals, even during the vesting period, they don't penalize you for up to a certain percentage depending on how each vehicle works. So that's why we do the educational piece to make sure you're educated to make a good decision when you're making and planning. Some of the companies we work with, like the one we just showed you, the three that I just showed you, they also offer health benefits. So on the income producing vehicles, if you got sick, were critically, chronically, and terminally ill, you can actually double that income for up to 5 years while you're going through the illness. So that's something extra. That's on top of any other thing you do. We also do teach classes on life insurance and all that stuff as well. That's not our focus, but that's the additional tool that can complement. But it kind of works similar to that, but it's a retirement plan. This is a retirement vehicle. It's rolling your 401ks, your IRAs, your Roth, and other qualified plans that are on the IRS taxation up front. And these are deferred plans. That's the other thing too. So the taxes are deferred until withdrawal, depending on the way you contribute. If you contribute with after tax dollars, the income is tax free. So there's so many ways we can educate you. We teach people about Roth conversions from traditional retirement accounts. The other thing when it pertains to real estate, and this is what I'm telling all of my homeowners and real estate professionals, I've been working with a lot of clients in the last several months that want to access their equity. So remember, if you live in a house and it's not a real estate investing and you're not renting rooms or doing anything that's going to generate income for your house, it's a liability. But what I have been helping homeowners do is leverage their equity, get access to their equity. And if they put a percentage of that money into one of these while they're reducing their debt, so it's like a debt savings reduction strategy. So they might be paying off tax debt. They may be paying off higher interest rate loans and credit cards. But the money that they take from this and put into the annuity is going to grow interest and bring that value back up. So when you're paying interest on a loan, especially we're getting into a higher interest rate society, people are counting on this new Fed chair to lower the rates. I don't believe he's going to do so, but we don't want to rely on that. So even if you had an 8% rate on your mortgage, home equity, and if it does reach the double digits where it's kind of fencing at this point, you want to have something that's earning either just as much or more interest in accumulation. So kind of it zeroes out the interest you're paying on the loan. And now the interest you're earning in the asset is now funding another investment. And it's also paying down your debt at the same time. So we're teaching debt reduction strategy. And if you're a real estate investor, we're encouraging if you're fixing and flipping, if you get rents and you profit on a yearly basis, take a percentage of that and put it into this vehicle. Then when you're taking out the 10% or 12% year to year, if you meet the requirements, then you can use that to fund your next down payment for your next real estate deal. So it's just a domino process that you can rinse and repeat. So those are the things we are going to go over in our more focused sessions. When we have our next meeting in July, it's going to be a class. We're still going to have our usual gathering like we do here for the small business resources because we want to keep that going. We want people to be able to talk about different things that can help in subject matters that can help your business, takeaways where you can implement and meet people organically where you can work with and help each other today. So does anybody have any questions? Oh, and on this, the minimum contribution requirement for this particular vehicle, we do work with companies that do start on the ground level, but the minimum for most of the vehicles, you have to have at least 5,000 to redirect from another account to be able to start it. And the max is based on age, but you can do more than one account per amount that you're investing. All right. Does anybody have any questions about this segment before I conclude and close the webinar?
I just want to say that this was great, and I'm looking forward to sticking around to see more. Thanks.
We appreciate. Thank you for your input. Please definitely reach out to us. We'll give everybody our contact information because we want to get more information. If anybody has any ideas of more things we can bring to the table, other topic matters we can talk about. So we have access to everybody. We're connected. Everybody's connected to somebody in here. So if there's something specific, like you need an area of help, apart from meeting one-on-one, we want to bring more subject matter experts that will be helpful to all the things and us working together. As you see, we work together to help the people. Everybody on this call, panelists, other people that are not here today, we really work. Hey, you need this? Let's get so and so on the line. That's help you, and we're keeping everything within our community and in-house. and that helps us grow our businesses together. So at the end of the day, I always tell people it's your life, it's your business, it's your family, it's your plan. All we can do is bring the information and resources to help. If you guys want to reach out, I definitely encourage you to have a one-on-one with us. So we have two ways that you can partner with us. There's no cost to our partnership. You can partner as if you have a resource or a product or a service that can help people within our community. We definitely want to meet with you today to be able to support others, and we can bring you on just like we have other people talking today to be able to tell people about what you do and how you can help them. If you want to have a one-on-one to be able to just for yourself, I always say put your own oxygen mask on. So if you want to talk to us about anything, we're holistic. We go over a whole of life approach. Hey, this is where I'm at with my personal life. This is at where I'm at with my financial journey. This is at where I'm at with my real estate business, my company, whatever you're doing. We're here to help. So, and for there's some panelists still remaining. We do at the end of this call usually have an open forum. So if you do have anything to share, I did see some of our other partners on the call. They're not necessarily speaking today, but I would like Shantae Broadus. She's my sister from another mother. Her name is Shantae too. She is a phenomenal woman. She's going to be speaking in upcoming events. I want her to tell people what she does very quickly and what she has access to.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. I thought it was a phenomenal night. I was just being at peace, just absorbing and eating and enjoying today. Um, but well, what we do is we help people that have that are paying a little bit more in taxes than we believe you should. Anyone that's paying five, six, or even seven figures in taxes, we're able to help you to reduce that tax debt. Also, using some of the methods that were actually spoken about here tonight, uh, to defer the taxes or to move them and restructure use in a way that you're eliminating a lot of the tax debt just by the way you're structured, just going from a sole prop to an LLC or from an LLC to an S corp, and creating more passive instead of active uh, income streams. So we also specialize in real estate and business funding as well. So commercial funding, business funding. So I love to collaborate. I was listening to a lot of what's going on here with the bankers and all the different lenders and programs and things that are available. So we're here to serve. And my entity is TRTG Business Services. And so we a lot of times specialize more on the real estate, tax, and trust. So, setting up trust and vehicles. I did hear someone speaking about the trust earlier as well. And there are ways to mitigate some of the things that were stated earlier, but I totally respect everyone's acumen and everything that came out tonight. So, thank you. I was just here enjoying the company of very, very good people and look forward to being able to serve along with such a brilliant and beautiful group of people. That's it.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
I was
much,
gonna say
Shantae. Mhm.
we definitely want to collaborate with you. It's free to have your information put on our website. I don't charge. That's not my intent. My intent is to serve my community and to provide information. So definitely get with us so that we can collaborate. And we would love to have you as a panelist to talk about some of the things you just mentioned.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And we're already working together. We on it, TK. So we're going to get this wrapped up next week so we can continue to help others together. Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the things that Paul spoke about and a lot of different individuals that spoke tonight on a very personal level. I'm going to just put it that way. Very great.
Yes. And we love it when you can relate because we know this stuff is real. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Hey, please
Yes.
put your information in the chat so that way everybody has access. Everybody that's on this call, you will get a copy of the chat. So if you're an attendee, please put your email and a contact phone number so we can reach out to you. We do have some new people. Jordan's on the line. And then last but not least, Prim, are you still there? I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell everybody what it is that you do. And he is a current partner and a direct member of First Financial Security with us. Prim, are you still there? All right, it's okay. We'll get his information out to everybody so that way you can have access to him. He has a wide array of services that are here to work and systems that help people every day. All
This is being recorded. Is Jason still here? Jason Barber, are you still there?
right. No, I don't see him anymore. That's why I didn't call him. Yeah.
Okay.
But Jason is an additional resource on our website, so you can drop down. We just heard all this talking about trust, will, and estate planning. So what Jason does, he just has the workbook. You still can work with your attorneys, work with companies like Shantae and some of the other people represented, Johnny Jones, to be able to set up your trust and will planning. But Jason actually created a booklet because of his personal experience of what happened when his father passed away. So he has a book on how to set up a trust, what you should be planning, what you should be including. So my clients, I actually recommend them to get his book before even talking to anybody and sit down with your family and get your information in order. So he is another good resource. And while we're closing out, does anybody else want to introduce themselves? I know Jordan just made a comment, but would you like to introduce ourselves to our community and tell us who you are?
Yeah, thank you for giving me the floor. My name is Jordan Comrie. I am a part-time social justice activist, architectural designer by trade. I'm on the board of a nonprofit organization, only about 27 years young, trying to make a change in my community as well. So, just recently laid off. So now I'm taking a step into the entrepreneur world, trying to get my ducks in order and start a hopefully successful business within the next couple months to possibly beat some of these taxes that we're getting right now, inflation. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I've been taking notes, and hopefully I can get a one-on-one with you guys soon and become part of the organization or the movement. Thanks.
Oh, we love that. That's the whole purpose. That's why we started Master Your Wealth Building, right? Because our people, Paul said it best. He said, our people lack from knowledge. So if we can empower you with the knowledge you need to make the right decision, not make those mistakes,
Mhm.
then we've done something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do appreciate like the previous speaker was saying the acumen that is definitely in this type of community. And I've been broadening my network recently, and it's really that's what you want. You know, you want to find where people are the professionals at their craft and they can teach someone versus the people that say they'll help and then they'll just help themselves. So yeah.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. We are licensed professionals, so not only do we teach, we can actually help you get the product or get the service.
Mm,
And what we decided 3 years ago was instead of turning people away, we created a Black Wall Street where we extend our network to your network so that your net worth continues to grow. Whatever you're looking for, we can introduce you to the president and the CEO of the company that's going to serve your solution.
mm,
And a lot of times people don't have that. They talked about one of our clients in Louisiana. He came to us because in his community, he doesn't have these services.
right. Right. Yeah, I'm all the way in New York. I was actually in DC this weekend for a conference. So that was pretty cool. I got to walk like your green circles and stuff.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Yes, we're licensed in multiple states. We have CEOs and connections. If you go to our website on the bottom, you'll see strategic partners that are in multiple states and licensed in multiple states. So don't let geographic location stop you.
Mm,
The client that we talked about in Louisiana um, he's about to close on a loan, which he could not get in his local community.
right.
Yeah, so yeah, we're licensed across our national brokerage organization, 50 states. We actually have four national programs abroad, so we work with people worldwide. So we're here for it. As long as you have a computer and you can connect, we're working together with people every day.
Nice. This is perfect then. You know, it's kind of weird. Everything happens for a reason. I just kind of was scrolling and I found the link and it's kind of lining up. So yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Welcome, Jordan. We'll definitely keep you in the loop. We'll set up a time to meet one-on-one, and then we'll also keep you abreast of any other events moving forward from
Please.
us and our
Yes.
partners as well.
That's
Yes,
what I was
please.
going to say. We definitely have at the very top of our website a link that says current and upcoming events.
Mhm.
That's the quickest way. And the next quickest way is if you found us on Eventbrite, click follow because it's going to chime you with every time we do a new class. But the collaborative effort that we do with all of our partners is definitely at the top of our website, masterwealthbuildersllc.com.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Let me see. It says
Just
collaborative effort, mastery education.
yes, yes. And then at the top where you see upcoming events, that's where we're always going to have whatever's coming next. Even from our partners, I always post it at the top right there.
Gotcha. All right. What do I have to do in order to like a book, maybe a one-on-one session
Yeah,
to
so
kind of
I
Go
go?
in the
I
chat.
put the calendar link in the chat so you can
Gotcha.
click on that and be able to schedule an appointment to talk to us one-on-one.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
Shantae just put it up right there. So since this is being recorded, definitely Shantae, scroll down a little bit. There's right at the top of our website, you're always going to see our upcoming events. Keep going, scroll down right there.
Yep.
So whatever we have going on, even our partners, we're always going to put it there. Sometimes there's 4 or 5 different events there. Just depends. Stop right there, please. And then right here, you're always going to see the flyers from our partners. So that's why tonight a couple people shared some flyers. Those are all going to be right here because this is our spotlight section, right? So that's always there. And when you click on the support button, it takes you directly to their website. So those are the key things that I wanted to point out. And then, like you said, there's so much information here. If you really want to take the time to read, click on Mastery Education, click on the blog section. There's so much information here. I'm glad that this is recorded because on YouTube, people can rewatch this. But we're here just to educate the public and give them, like Paul said, this gives you access to information they don't normally like. There's no class in college that shows you how to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
There's no class unless your parents taught you on how to be fiscally responsible and what tools actually allow you to get to that level of responsibility. So not only do we teach, like you said, we show you how to set it up because we're licensed agents.
Right.
Yep. So this is what it's about. So everybody got their homework. I'm a teacher and educator. Go home, go through the website, support the people here. Oh, you're laughing, CK. And then make sure that before we come back next month and then other classes that you have at least connected with at least one minimum one person, if not all people on this webinar. And this is for everybody, not just for Jordan. Everybody connect, even as professionals. We do better when we grow together. So that's
Oh
continued.
yeah, Sante, before you close out, can you show them that? Can you scroll down to the key partners at the bottom? Because everyone that spoke on this webinar is actually here. Scroll all the way down to our partners, right there. So you can click on their bio, you can click on their website, you can click on their whatchamacallit, where it says contact. It explains more about what services they offer. There's Johnny. Everyone's there. So we are in the business of extending our network to you. And the idea is if you don't know where to go, now you know. Or if you don't know who to talk to, excuse me, now you know. And we also have the sponsorships available if anyone's interested in that. And literally, we want you just to invite other people because I guarantee you, a lot of your cohorts or your family members, they're going to make these mistakes. They're going to say, no one ever taught me that. Whenever we do public speaking, the number one thing that melanated people say is, no one ever taught me that.
Yeah.
All right.
One
So we're
thing,
going to
one thing
wrap
I
it
will tell
up.
you, if you go to
Go
the
ahead.
bottom of the chat in the bottom right corner and hit save the chat, a lot of the people have their information right here. You can go find us and you can connect with us because I have found that when I do that, I actually go and get connected with other people. And I usually make about 2 or 3 appointments from each one of these events so that I can go talk to them. Because a lot of us do business in multiple states. I'm cover 48 states. So, in the US, I just don't do Massachusetts or Alaska, but I have people that can do them. But we all can reach you. So New York is simple for us. It's a 4-hour drive, really, but it really is a 5-minute phone call.
I like that.
I like that one too.
Absolutely. So for the purpose of time, we're going to wrap it up. Does anybody have any last comments? Johnny said what he said. Anybody else want to say any last remarks?
Just thank you. Thank you for everything, all of your support and help. And I'm just really glad that I met you, Shanti, and I'm a part of this group. Thank you so much. And Ty, you too. Thank you.
No worries, no worries.
No,
And
thank
I
you,
want
Maria. I told you, I appreciate you. I'm
to
thankful that you're here, and we're going to ride out and do a lot more together. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Since this is being recorded, I want to let everybody know that we do this every month, right? It's usually on the last Wednesday of the month. We try to time it somewhere in there, right? So bring somebody next month. We're always going to bring subject matter experts. We're always going to bring topics that can empower you. So please take the time to keep coming back. We're always in a learning, and our purpose is to just give you some knowledge.
Yeah. So each one teach one, so each one bring one. How about that?
All right.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna stop the recording, but Johnny, I'm about us, we're growing together in success. So, if you would like to pray us out.